Right, well, I'm Carol. We're sat in the back, well, what used to be the back garden before it became the cat's playground. Generally they all get on, and those that don't avoid each other. Occasionally, when you've got a few, you'll always get the odd spat, and occasionally one or two of them will have a bit of a do at each other, but you usually find hissing at them works very well. I suppose it's what the mother would do. That's Rascal behind me. He was another cat that came from Oldham Cat Rescue. And on my knee is Aslan. He was from, well, when we did rescue, we used to have a fosterer, and when we gave up rescue, she set up on her own, and he actually came from her. He insists on sitting in the rain, even though he doesn't have to, and then he'll come running in, soaking wet, and jump up on your knee. So quite a few characters amongst them, Douglas being, I think, the main character. Douglas without a tail. He was a tiny little kitten with a great big, what our vet calls a bucket, the Elizabethan collar to stop him getting at his wound, and I think it was love at first sight. He later went on to get to the finals of the Cat Protection Rescue Cat of the Year award. We entered him into that. We got a trip down to London. He didn't win, but he was one of the finalists in the survivor category. And as a kitten, he was a water baby. He used to go and have a shower, and he would sit on the edge of the bath and cry at you, and one day, just to see what he would do, we picked him up, and he just snuggled into it. Oh yes, I like this, and had a shower with me. Following which we put him in the bath with about 3 inches of water and a ping pong ball, and he splashed about quite happily for about 10 or 15 minutes. But at the time we did film it, and there's about a 5-minute video on YouTube of him splashing about with a ping pong ball in the bath. We'd got Douglas, and about 3 weeks after we got Douglas, there was a knock at the door, and say we used to do rescue, and it was teenage lads from over the road, nice lads, no problem, and said, do you still do rescue? And we said, no, we don't. They brought out from behind the back this black and white kitten and said only this followed us home. So we agreed that if we advertised her and nobody came forward to claim her, we'd keep her, and we did. But about a year later, we're having a new kitchen fitted, and they'd fitted the kitchen, part of it temporarily, went home for the night, and came feeding time, no Pixie. We couldn't find Pixie, so we're looking round, and as a joke said to Douglas, because he'd become very close to it, as a joke said, go and find Pixie, and he ran into the kitchen and batted at one of the unit doors, and we opened it and there was Pixie. She must have got in through a gap. So I suppose he's a bit of a hunt and search cat as well. Oh, they're constantly making us laugh. Douglas is quite good at falling off things. I think they're all quite good at falling off things. Rascal is quite a character. He can jump 3/4 of the way up a door after a laser beam. We've got a Tortian White called Heidi, who likes melon and potato peelings and a lot of fruit. We call her the fruit bat. If you have melon and put the skin down after you finish, she will come and chew it, and she'll pull potato peelings out of the bin if you're peeling a potato. Which I think is quite unusual for a cat. We've always had non-pedigrees, nearly all rescue cats, and we actually got into showing them, and eventually that led to us last September getting 2 pedigrees to show as well. We did a bit of research, came across the breed, which is quite a rare breed still at the moment, came across the breed quite by chance and researched it and found out that it wasn't yet at full championship status under GCCF, so there was a challenge as well to work towards that. Actually Selkirk Rex cats, which have only been in the country 6 years. Raffles, though, this is a real gutter to glory story. He was literally born in the gutter in Manchester, picked up by Oldham Cat Rescue, him and his mum, and subsequently the other 3 siblings. We'd actually started showing by chance at the local cat protection show with a white semi-long-haired rescue cat called Tanya, and we'd always said, she was 4 years old when we got her, we'd always said we would have loved to have had her as a kitten. And one night a friend phoned and said, are you still looking for a semi-long-haired white kitten? This was like 7 years later, and we said, oh yes. Well, friends of mine foster for Oldham cats and they've got one in. So we dashed over to Failsworth that night and came back with a 6.5-week-old kitten, which normally they wouldn't have let go at that age, but they knew we'd done a bit of rescue ourselves, so we knew what we were doing. He was very scruffy, red-rimmed eyes like he hadn't slept for a week, not at all like the cat he is today. He just took to showing, and 4 years ago at the Supreme won the best non-pedigree long-haired cat, which was just one off being the overall best non-pedigree.